took the tabernacle and pitched it without and the camp afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of the congregation. And it came to pass that everyone which sought the Lord went out unto the tabernacle of the congregation which was without the camp. And it came to pass when Moses went out unto the tabernacle that all the people rose up and stood every man at his tent door and looked after Moses until he was gone unto the tabernacle. So he goes out and he builds his tabernacle, and that's where God's dwelling. And you go on down and you start seeing these things. Look at verse 12. And Moses said unto the Lord, See, thou sayest unto me, Bring up this people. And thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast found grace in my sight. He says, God, you say you know me by name. You say that, but he says, tell me what's going on. Let me know what you're doing. Now, therefore, I pray thee, I have found grace in thy sight. Show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. He goes, let me know your way. Let me know what you're going to do. Let me know. And he said, My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, If thy presence go not with me, carry us not up thence. For wherein shall it be known where I have here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that in thou goest with us, so we be separated, and I and thy people, for all the people that are upon the face of the earth? And the Lord said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. So the bottom line is, he's saying, listen, you and I have a special relationship. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're going to do. Now, this whole story is about who? Nation of Israel and their what? Disobedience to God and worshiping idols. That's what it's about. That's what the story's about. Now look at verse 18. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness. Now this is where he goes on and he makes the statement. He says, I will make all of my goodness pass before thee. I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. When he does that, you know what he's demonstrating? His glory. This has nothing to do with who he's going to choose to go to heaven or hell. This passage of Scripture has to do with the nation of Israel and the punishment that they deserve because of their idolatry, and God has chosen not to do it. That's what this is about. And he goes on down, he says in verse 20, and he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And the Lord said, Behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon the rock, and it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, I will put thee in the clefts of the rock, and will cover thee by my hand, and I will pass by, and I will take mine hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. And the Lord said unto Moses, Hew thee 2 tables of stone, like unto the first, and I will write upon the words which were in the first 2 tables, which thou breakest, and be ready in the morning. And so he's going to redo, if you will, he's going to redo the law, those commandments there. And so he's talking about how he is. And look down at verse 9 real quick. He said, and he said, If now I have found grace in thy sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray thee, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take for us thine inheritance. Bottom line is, God, I'm going to go. Our people, they're stiff-necked people. They did wrong. They're idol worshipers. And God says, I'm going to show mercy on whom I will show mercy. Now, here's the thing. Go back to Romans chapter 9. if someone quotes a verse out of the Old Testament, you know what you